Hi again, Dawn Ludicky and Miss Dylan Crush. She's
Woohoo!
she's talking to us from Milwaukee.
Woohoo!
Doing a reader event. So Dylan, first thing, I want to see your cowboy. I want to see the cowboy. You promised.
He's in the box.
I thought you were.
I will get the cowboy out of the box too. While Catherine and Libby are reading, I will unpackage the cowboy's package and I will show you the cowboy.
Okay. All right, because I want to see him. I heard a rumor that he's a Chippendales cowboy.
Whoa.
He is. He is. And he was quite a bargain on Amazon in 2D form. So
Would you expect anything less from Dylan, though? Come on.
that's right. That's right. Well, I'm in Milwaukee, and it is the eve of the Barbara Vey Reader Appreciation Weekend, and so there are like 50 romance authors, and we've all descended upon this hotel, and so we're going to have quite a party this weekend.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And I promised a sneak peek at what I brought for my table because it's like a contest almost. All of these authors decorate their tables real big, and so yes, I brought a cowboy, and then I was going to show you what I found because I brought Phoebe back with me.
Yeah.
I know you guys can't tell how big this pig is, but like, look.
Whoa.
For scale, it's a big pig. So the pig came with me all the way from Minnesota. I have two pigs. And then Dawn, you made some glasses for our raffle basket.
Yeah.
On my chair, so he's going to be dangling over me. Let me find. And in case you guys don't know, Dawn is amazing. She made these little tumblers, and you can't really see it, but it says books, wine, and good times. And then she added our book covers right there.
Yeah. Sweet Teen Second Chances, right?
Very cool.
And,
Awesome.
and she made two of these that are going in our raffle basket.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm amazing. And pig attacking me, but it's all good.
All right. So what are you on besides the
Did you see that? You can't see it. It says books and vegetables. Dawn is much more talented.
You're glitching a little bit.
I think it's the hotel free Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So just so you know, she's using the hotel Wi-Fi again. So if she glitches, that's why. But you still got me, Miss Catherine and Miss Liberty. So Dylan's she's at the Barbara Vey, and I am just at home writing. I am working on. I've got a triple release coming up, and I'm working on getting those ones completed, edited and published, and super busy. And can't wait until, school days. Every day the kids go to school and husband goes to work. So I'm writing those. And Miss Catherine, what are you writing? What are you working on?
I'm writing a book that's not coming out for a while yet because I have like a big backlog and I always have other stuff. But I have this book that I'm going to read for you later is coming out on Tuesday. It's the second book in my Potions and Passions series. It's Victorian with magic potions.
Nice.
And this one features a widow who's rather sarcastic and a very scholarly hero that spends all his time researching and ancient curses and murder mysteries. Lots of romance, obviously.
Dylan, is that you that's squeaking us? Sorry, she's glitching Dad.
She's causing all kinds of problems. Holy cow.
She's trying to come in a different. Wow, she's so pretty in this. You look gorgeous here. I'm sorry, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. She's trying to get up here on her cell phone or something, and she's looking like glamour shot. All right, so Miss Catherine, you're reading that for us tonight, and is that what you're giving away as well?
I'm actually giving away the previous book, the first book in the series, and also the prequel novella.
Okay. Let's see which one we can get Dylan up on. Let's see. All right, she is all over the road. I'm sorry, guys. We're having technical difficulties with her. All right. So, Miss Liberty, what about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're working on, and what you're giving away.
All right. So first of all, thank you for having me. So super excited to be here. I am working on like 3 things right now, and I'm also studying astrology. So I'm learning about like why it is that I want to do like 50 things at once.
Mhm.
So now I know why that is. So it's very freeing. So it's like now I feel okay doing that. So I'm working on the 4th book in the Fangirl series, and so that may be the last book. We'll see. I don't know. It's really hard to give these 2 up. I love writing them, and I will be reading from the first book later on today. It's called All Access, and I'll show that to you in a little bit. Book 3 just came out on February 26th. So I'm going to get my booty in gear and get book 4 out pretty soon. And I'm also working on a rom-com second chance romance. They were like friends from childhood, and they reunite later. It's so fun. Oh my gosh. Now I'll give you a sneak peek at the cover, maybe. We'll see. I already got that ready. And that will be called Get Ya Back. And it's inspired by the Beach Boys song from the 80s.
Yeah.
And so that one's super fun. And then I'm also working on a middle grade book of all things.
Oh,
'cause
man.
so I have a huge interest in writing for kids too. And so I'm kind of all over the place. And so wherever the muse wants to go on any particular day, we go with it.
So do you write your middle grade under a pseudonym, or do you use
It will be, yes. I haven't published anything yet, and I may try the traditional route for middle grade. We'll see, just so that, I don't know, it's got a better reach probably. We'll see. But yes, that will be under a pen name for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Dylan's back with us. Hello.
I keep trying.
So we've just introduced them. Did you want to say what you're working on real quick, Dylan? Besides the Barbara Vay? Is she glitching?
What's
again?
that?
Did you want to tell us?
I
what
think
you're
it's
working on?
glitching.
Yeah. All right. We'll just pretend like she's a statue, and we'll go on without her. All right. So, Miss Catherine, did you want to read for us tonight?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll go start. All right, I'm going to read 1 full chapter, and then I might add a little bit of some slightly sexy times after that if we have enough time. All right, so I'm going to start reading. This is from the 3rd chapter. So our hero and heroine have met just previously. She's found out that he wrote this secret book of love poems, and she thinks that because of that, he's the one that's going to be like, she's going to be able to win his romantic soul. He's only interested in finding himself a cure for his secret, dangerous affliction. The door to Mr. Cantrell's office had been left ajar. Rachel peeked in without knocking. The room was unpleasantly crowded. It wasn't untidy. Cantrell was an organized scholar, not an absent-minded one. But it lacked space enough to contain all his books and papers. The shelves overflowed, books were stacked on the floor, and the desk was all but hidden beneath piles of papers, held down with colorful glass weights. Mr. Cantrell sat behind a desk, tapping his pen against the paper in front of him. His coat was off and his tie loosened. A pair of spectacles perched on the end of his nose. Striking. Handsome, though he would never be called pretty. His cheekbones were too protruding and his jaw severe, but there was a rugged virility to his face that appealed to her. He had an eye for fashion. His waistcoat was sleek and well-fitted, civilizing his broad-shouldered physique. She liked his smart attire, but thought he would look even better in a dirt-stained, half-unbuttoned shirt and sporting a day's growth of beard. Perhaps she had lived too long in America. Rachel rapped on the door, and he called out for her to come in without looking up. She swished into the room, her scarlet dress taking up all the available space. "Good afternoon, Mr. Cantrell." His head snapped up, and his jaw dropped. He hurried to compose himself, removing the spectacles and straightening his tie. When he rose to greet her, however, his words were less than genteel. "Are you stalking me, Mrs. Fashion?" "Don't be ridiculous. You approached me at the ball, and now you've come to my office uninvited. I must conclude that there's something you want of me. Would you be so good as to tell me what it is?" "I enjoyed our conversation last night. I should like to continue to have such discourse in the future." He frowned down at her. He was an excellent height. She needed a tall man to match her own imposing stature. "That seems a feeble excuse for your presence here. How, may I ask, did you even know where this office is? For that matter, how do you know who I am? I'm not often out in society." Rachel couldn't conceal a grin. She knew even more about him than he suspected. I have friends who are adept at finding things out. Is that so? You sound a bit cross, Mr. Cantrell. Didn't you enjoy our time together last night? I did, in fact. You were a worthy dance partner and an interesting conversationalist. Today, however, I have important work to do and I have no time for idle chatter. If you could tell me without further delay what I can do for you, it would be most appreciated. I should like you to explain why you faked a book of your ancient poetry and now insist on disparaging your own work. His dark green eyes hardened. I don't know what you're talking about. You needn't fear that I will expose your secret. I have no desire to endanger your career. This is for my own curiosity only. I know you are the author of that book. I should like to know what you were thinking when you wrote it, and why you decided to pass it off as a historical text instead of claiming the work as your own. Mrs. Fashing, he ground out through gritted teeth, I'm not going to discuss this no matter how you pester me. I'm thoroughly tired of the subject, and I must beg you to drop it. Very well. I will say only that I found the poems to be both well-written and heartfelt, and I think they speak highly of your intellect, your tender heart, and your passionate nature. The irritability subsided, leaving a bemused frown in its place. My dear lady, I have neither a tender heart nor a passionate nature. I'm well noted for being dull and unemotional. I can't believe that. It's true nonetheless. Well, I suppose if you don't wish to talk today, I shall simply have to come back at another time when you are in better spirits. Further argument wouldn't serve her purposes. The man possessed a certain stubbornness that would make sensible discussion difficult, and she wished to keep their relationship cordial. She could take her time uncovering the mystery of the book, and the myriad other puzzles Mr. Avery Cantrell presented. He intrigued her, and she looked forward to observing and analyzing his eccentricities. I'm in fine spirits, he sighed. It's only that I'm quite busy. Her eyes skimmed over the stacks of papers. Yes, you look to have mountains of work before you. You must be very devoted to your research. I am. Rachel had never been devoted to anything in her life except, perhaps, her wardrobe. It was a shame, really. She was surrounded by friends with passion, yet she'd never seemed able to drum up any of her own. Henry had advised her once to do something with her life. That was 2 years ago, and thus far she hadn't found anything that suited her. I should like to have an occupation, she mused. Not as a means of income, you understand, but a hobby that I might pursue. I seem to have reached my limit for reading books and studying the arts. I fear I've become boring. His dark eyebrows rose in disbelief, and he chuckled. You? Boring? I should think not. You're a fascinating woman, Mrs. Fashing. She beamed. Thank you. Of late, I haven't lacked for things to do. I've been concentrating on my upcoming marriage. The humor in his expression faded. Rachel felt a rush of triumph. He preferred her unattached. You intend to remarry soon? His tone was bland, though his eyes fell to her dress. I notice you've thrown off your widow's weeds. Rachel spun in a circle to allow him to admire her from all sides. Do you like it? I only just had it made. It becomes you. Thank you. He nodded to her and dropped his gaze to his papers. If there's nothing further, I must return to my work. Allow me to congratulate you on your engagement. It's not official yet. I don't know that the gentleman in question will think to make me an offer, though I know he's seeking a wife. I may have to do the thing myself, I'm afraid. His eyes rose to meet her once again. A woman making an offer of marriage? That would be a fine story for the gossip columns. Perhaps someone ought to warn the poor man. Rachel steeled herself for the moment of truth. The enormity of the risk caused her skin to prickle. She knew so little about him, and he was reluctant to share. Clearly, he was a man accustomed to holding his passions in check. Would she truly be able to release them? It was now or never. He sought a wife, and she didn't think he would waste time finding one. Everything she had seen proclaimed him to be the right sort of man. This was just her chance to snare him before some young, flighty thing did. She gifted him with her most captivating smile. I just did. All right. And what time is? Do I have a little bit more time still?
Yeah, you got time.
Okay. Then I will read part of a later time. Okay. All right. I'll read some kissing scenes and stuff then. Right. His laughter drew her attention to his face. Rachel admired the shape of his jaw and the even white teeth that showed when he smiled. She wanted a taste of his generous lips. His dark green eyes sparked with desire. She reconsidered her words. She might well feel beautiful in anything at all if he looked at her the way he was looking at her now. His hand cupped her chin. Then I would have to kiss you until you did. The kiss began slowly, as it had during their previous encounter, a tender invitation for further intimacies. Rachel accepted. She wound her arms around his neck, dragging him closer, her tongue snaking across his lower lip. Avery emitted a growl of pleasure. It was all the encouragement she needed. In an instant, the kiss morphed into a ravenous, insistent plundering. She thrust her tongue into his mouth, claiming him for herself, forgetting that she wasn't supposed to be the aggressor. Her fingers tore at his shirt buttons, hungering for the feel of his naked flesh. His skin was warm beneath the cloth and dusted with precisely the right amount of dark curling hairs. Her fingertips glided over him, exploring, savoring. Every touch inflamed her. Her senses had become wild. Her breasts grew heavy, her nipples straining beneath her corset. A rush of arousal ran through her belly and between her legs. She dragged her mouth away from his, kissing across his scratchy jaw, creeping lower until her lips found the hollow of his throat. He tasted salty sweet and smelled of spice and soap. "Rachel," he gasped. She ran her tongue along his collarbone, eliciting another groan. He was intoxicating. She reeled. Had she been too long away from the marriage bed? She'd never been so eager for a tumble. He backed her into the room, kicking the door shut behind him. With one hand, he began pulling pins from her hair, spilling her curls down her back and across her shoulders. His other hand skimmed over her hip and around to the small of her back. "My God, but you are lovely." She withdrew from her exploration of his neck to meet his smoldering gaze. She licked her lips and saw his own lips part in response. He tugged her closer until she could feel the hard length of his shaft pressing against her. What fool would want that silly pink virgin when he could have you? Rachel brushed her lips to his, warm, soft, wet. Tremors shook her body. She ached for him. "Only my husband may have me," she murmured. He toyed with a strand of hair that had fallen just between her breasts, wrapping it around a finger that he swept across the swell of her bosom. She'd been mistaken. The lace did nothing to bar his touch. His light caresses seared her skin. "I will be your husband soon." "Yes." His mouth found her throat, and her head lolled to the back with a sigh. "Oh, Avery." She didn't think she could control herself any longer. After years of chastity, it seemed she was willing to throw it away mere weeks before her wedding. Her body stiffened as unpleasant memories intruded on her pleasure. Lectures, reminders, her father's constant disapproval, even though she'd never gone further than a stolen kiss. She would never forget the scathing remark she'd overheard as a child. "They're all whores, deep down, every one." Rachel had prided herself on proving to him that she would never be, that even though she was gifted with beauty and surrounded by admirers, she would keep herself for her husband alone. She'd been a perfect, loving daughter, and he had repaid that by selling her to a murderer to further his own investments. Conflicting desires warred in her mind. Part of her wanted to ignore everything her father had said. Another part still wanted to prove that she was more virtuous than he had ever believed. Her only certainty was that her body craved what her fiancé offered. And that was good, wasn't it? A mutual passion would bring them closer and make their marriage a happy one. She allowed herself to relax in Avery's arms, surrendering to the sensation. Her fingers wormed their way beneath his collar again, and she breathed the scent of his skin. Warm, delicious, electrifying. "Oh, Avery, I do want you so." "Why?" The question confused her. She couldn't think straight, drunk as she was on his virility. "Why do I want you?" Lord in heaven, how could she not want him? He was a ball of raging, fiery passion disguised as a man. "Yes. I read your poems," she breathed, her voice sounding odd and distant to her own ears. He pressed his lips to hers in a lingering kiss. "Then I'm pleased to have written them."
That's so cute.
Thanks.
I cannot wait. Let me get us up here and get him all solo.
That wasn't cute, Dawn. That was like freaking steaming hot.
I know, but like that's cute too. Okay, I've had some wine. Sexy cute.
Uh-oh.
Sexy cute. There we go. No, it was good. I love reading those kind of books because I write American historical and contemporary. I love reading like books from outside America to just like get me into it. You know what I mean? To get away. When I read books from my own genre, I just think, oh, I could do like something similar. I could do this and this and this and this, and it kind of gets my brain going to my own book, and then I stop and I go write instead. When I read
that was a problem.
Genre.
Sometimes when I'm writing a lot, it's hard to find time to read because I'm like, but I'm writing. I need to type constantly.
Yeah. So Dylan has something to show us now that she's back in action here.
Oh, well, we can wait.
Okay.
A cowboy.
I was watching her unwrapping him, and I'm like, yeah.
You wanted to see the cowboy. There's the cowboy. He's gonna have lunch with me tomorrow. So
remind me at the end of after Miss Liberty reads to tell you about the Chippendales not experience. It wasn't an experience, but a story that I have.
We will not.
Yes, no, you will. You will. Remind me. All right. Do we have any questions for Miss Catherine right now? Oh, see, Linda wants to hear. Well, I'll tell you afterwards, Linda. I promise.
No, I think Linda agreed with me that was not cute.
No, it's cute. It's steamy. Steamy.
It was not cute. It was freaking hot. No question yet. Anyone else? Catherine, put them in the comments, and we'll get to those after Liberty reads.
Yes. Are you ready, Miss Liberty?
I'm ready.
I love your name, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was a name I had to grow into because, as you can imagine, a little teasing took place as a kid, and but now I love it and I appreciate it. So
yeah, it's beautiful.
It's all good. It's very memorable too, right?
It's the name of of a heroine for sure.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and an author, right?
Real.
Bestseller. Yes, let's do this. Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Catherine. Yours was totally awesome. I loved hearing that. I don't read in that genre at all, so it was really cool to hear that perspective, something totally different than what I'm used to. And maybe we can talk about this later. But I'm like you. I cannot read in my genre when I'm writing. I just can't do it. So that's why I read kids' books a lot, because that obviously is quite the departure from what we do on a daily basis. So yeah, but I am going to read today from book 1. My series is called the Fangirl series. And the tagline is, every fangirl has a fantasy. What happens when that if only dream comes true? So every one of you here, I'm guessing, has a fangirl fantasy, right? You've got somebody that you crush on and you would love to meet them, and what would happen if you ever met them. This is kind of like what this series is about, what the first book is about, and then they progress from there. The whole series is the same couple. So I know that a lot of people use different couples throughout their series, and this is all Niles and Callie, and you can just really see them develop and grow throughout the series. And there's peripheral characters that come in and all that good stuff. So the first book is called All Access. This is the cover of the paperback. This is the OG cover right here. And then I've updated covers since then. And this is, ooh, you can't really see it that great, but this is the current ebook cover. And then the other 2 books have similar color covers. Can't miss them. They're so super aligned. They did a great job with the branding. So I'm going to read you the blurb on the back so you can get an idea of what we're looking at here. So though she's a single mom wedged firmly into 30-something territory, author Callie Reagan's devotion to rock star Niles Russell knows no bounds. To pay homage to her muse, Callie writes a smoking hot novel featuring a hero who looks and acts an awful lot like Niles, and a heroine who may or may not have a smattering of herself thrown in for fun. When Niles learns about the book and surprise texts Callie, the 2 delicious, complicated creatives become fast friends, and so much more. But trying to define a relationship that's laced with closeted skeletons, half-truths, and constant question marks proves harder than making it big. If they're going to progress from fangirl infatuation to the real deal, these 2 need to give each other all access to the most important place of all, their hearts. Okay, so we're talking about an author here and her rock star obsession, all right? So I shall begin. Chapter 1 is called Text Me Maybe. And this is from Callie's perspective. First person. Ever been on the receiving end of a text from your celebrity crush? Yeah, neither have I. At least I don't think I have. I stare at my phone where all kinds of letters are lined up to make sentences that would normally be pretty benign. But when I see they're from a number I don't recognize with a New York City area code, and they say, "So, is it true? Did you write your book about me?" They go from being benign to what the hell in a hurry. Because my book was written with somebody very specific in mind, as in Niles Russell, the lead singer of my favorite band. And it's highly unlikely he's at the opposite end of this texting conversation. Isn't it? God, Callie, get a grip. Of course it's not him. No question, this is just a prank and I should definitely ignore it. But, not gonna lie, I kind of had the flutters here. And I'm a little intrigued. So I take a deep breath and type, question mark, who is this? And hit send. Oh my God, did I just do that? Seriously, why am I engaging with someone who A, seems to know they're talking to someone who wrote a book, and B, also seems to know that said book was inspired by someone real? I must be a special kind of crazy. I roll my eyes at myself and toss my phone back on the coffee table. An instant later, my mystery texter's response comes in. You've written books about other people? It says, complete with a winky face. No, I have not. I shake my head and laugh because, duh, I get it now. This is obviously Sarah, my best friend, clearly taking pleasure in messing with my head. She knows that even though I'm wedged firmly into 30-something territory, I become a complete and utter fangirl whenever I talk, think, or speak about Niles. Sarah's a total goofball, and she must be bored, so hey, why not borrow someone's phone and pretend to be Niles just to blow my mind? Awesome. Sure, I've written tons of them, I respond. Let's see how long she'll play this out before coming clean. Hopefully not long. I have laundry to do. Then I'm sad. Thought I was the only one. Another winky face. Saw a lot of myself in the Nash character and was kind of flattered. Just wanted to let you know. My eyes pop up and I look around to be sure there isn't a hidden camera somewhere, capturing this terrible joke. She's starting to be a little convincing, which is honestly kind of mean. You know what I would give to hear from the real Niles? I sigh, and against my better judgment, keep playing along. Okay, you got me. Now send me a plane ticket so I can come manhandle you and we'll call it a day. If that doesn't make her squirm, I don't know what will. My phone stays silent for a minute, maybe two. Yep, I got her. She has no idea how to respond. Bloop. So, about your book. Okay, this is how it's going to be, huh? She's going to keep going? Oh, what about it? Sarah, more than anybody, knows all about my book, the book that started out as an outlet for the fangirl crush I have on Niles and totally took on a life of its own. When I finished the thing, shocker number one, because writing a novel is hard and takes a lot of time, I reached out to my dream literary agent who loved my book as much as I did and signed me fairly quickly, shocker number two. The next thing I knew, she was shopping my novel to some of the biggest publishers in New York City and ultimately secured me a deal that slightly squelched the monetary fears I was having as I navigated my way through the dissolution of my 12-year marriage. It's creepy, the mystery texter says, and awesome. Good job, but weird. That line twists my stomach. Sarah doesn't speak like that. She would never ever start a sentence with and or but, and she really wouldn't do it 2 times in one text. For a minute, I let myself really believe it's my muse. Okay, minute over. Hey, Sarah, you're super hilarious, but quit playing with me, okay? Aren't you supposed to be heading to dinner with Jack? Sarah's going through a divorce too, but instead of swearing off men for the next 6 lifetimes like me, she's diving right back in with a guy from high school. From high school! Ugh. The next response is instantaneous. Sarah? No. A few seconds pass, then it really is me, NR. Okay, if my stomach had the flutters after that first text, it's hosting an entire community of butterflies, hummingbirds, whatevers after this one. NR, NR, NR. No freaking way. It cannot be Niles Russell. I feel woozy. If this is a game, I am so done with it. My hands shake as my fingers slowly type. Okay, if you really are NR, then where are you right now? I know, but do you? This will definitely bust Sarah or whoever is yanking my chain. Niles and his band are on tour right now, not too far away from me. I know this because in 5 days I'm going to see them live. Again, I know every single stop on their tour, and if I somehow can't remember where they are on a particular day, I dash straight to the website to check. I'm like a high schooler who knows every class her crush has, what hall he goes down, the drinking fountain he stops at before each period, everything. If Niles is doing it, I know about it. It's become like a game. Just sound checked in Chicago, barely made it on time. They're starting to let people in. Oops. Another smiley face. Whoa, Niles is in Chicago. I was this close to going there myself, but I chickened out on driving alone. Nobody knows that, not even Sarah. Hang on, sending you a pic. As I wait, my stomach flops, my heart races, and my lips hurt from clenching them so tightly together. If this really is Niles, what in the world does he want with me? How would he have gotten my number? Yeah, he was the inspiration behind my book, but it's not like I actually called him out in there. How would he know? Why would he care? My phone blips and my shaky hands raise the screen to eye level. And the air leaves my lungs as I focus on those funky blue, gray, green eyes that lured me in during every music video, those lips with the perfect bow, and those super white teeth that are a little bit big for his slender face. This can't be real. My eyes travel up to his hair, that telltale floppy brown hair that's short on the sides and all crazy on top. It's the exact same hair I've seen in a million pictures and subsequently fantasized over. I want to reach through the phone and touch it. He's not smiling, but he's also not smiling. He looks as quirky as I expected him to. I'm smitten all over again. See, I told you it was really me. I can't even feel my fingers as I type. Holy bleep. Press send. But in an instant, my mind is plotting who to tell first. No one will believe me. But wait, they have to. The picture's right here. The picture of Niles Russell, right here on my phone. I'll tell Sarah first, of course. After all, she's the one who encouraged me to write the book, knowing full well it was stirring up some major dust in my head and my heart. Then maybe I'll go to the library or Target or somewhere. Just whip out my phone and be like, oh, hey, look, this is a text from Niles Russell. Oh, and he sent me a pic too. Huh, isn't that something? Half of the people won't know who he is because even after winning 3 Grammys, it's kind of nondescript. They're like the band that's all over radio and TV and everybody knows their songs, but hardly anybody knows their name, which I love because they're kind of like all mine. And let me skip this a little bit. Okay. I'm not sure I've ever had a harder time breathing. If Niles Russell truly read my book, then he truly knows exactly how I feel about him, and that's truly insane. Truly. Because let's be honest here, things got pretty steamy in a few parts. Within those pages, Niles and I got naked together, bore our very beings to each other, and ran off into the sunset living happily ever after. It was a magical, electric, beguiling, and mesmerizing journey, and now he knows all about it. The phone startles me when it dings again. You still there? My face is scorching hot. Not only does he know my deepest and darkest feelings, but 5 seconds ago, I told him to send me a plane ticket so I could come manhandle him. Oh my God. This is the opportunity every fangirl dreams of, and here I am totally blowing it. I'm paralyzed, deciding whether to pretend our connection got dropped, tell him the book wasn't about him, or hell, just ignore it altogether. Sure, it's one thing to fantasize about someone when they're nothing but a few pages of Google images and some concert viewings from the first few rows. It's quite another when the real deal sends you unsolicited text messages, and suddenly you have to own up to your obsession. I wonder what he's thinking right now. Is he seriously flattered, or is he totally freaked out? In my wildest dreams, I didn't expect my book to find its way into Niles's hands, or for him to figure out he was the inspiration behind it. This is so crazy. After the next sting, a picture of him with a big, genuine smile, raised eyebrows, and the heart-meltiest look in his eyes. I know what I have to do. I'm here, and I wish you were too. And so you can imagine what might happen from there.
I feel like you've read before live because you were awesome. So, I love like
thank you.
the time you was like look at the camera for emphasis.
Aw.
That was so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like a really fun book.
Really funny.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dylan's
Yeah,
here.
it's super fun. What's that?
Dylan's here but glitchy. Tell her we worked through it. Sorry. She's having major problems tonight.
All right, she's a teacher. That's okay. Yeah, so no, the book is just, the whole series is just meant to be super fun and like check out Of Reality and just go have yourself a good old time and just don't think about all the laundry and the crap that you have to do and the, everything else. So yeah, just go have a good time with it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And picture yourself. And the thing is that, I don't do a lot of description, a little bit of Callie, because I really want you to picture yourself as the fangirl, right? So I don't be like, oh, she looks like this, like this. I mean, little things here and there just to kind of, like weigh out, what she might look like relative, like height-wise to Niles and things like that. But otherwise, it's all you.
That's cute. Yeah. So Karen wants to know, Liberty, why you chose the covers for your Fangirl series.
Well, the covers have gone through a couple iterations, actually. This was the original cover, Karen. I don't know if you saw it when I first held it up. This is the OG here. This was the cover that it was launched with. That's why the paperback is still in this. And then I went through a second cover phase where they were kind of more They were cool. I loved them. They were like people. And I tend not to do that because, again, I don't want to really ingrain the mental image of what somebody looks like so that they can put themselves into the story themselves. So the second book was like silhouettes of the couple. The first book was Callie from the behind, and she's holding her hands in the heart, and she's at a concert. So she's like standing in the crowd looking at the stage. So, you know, it's all about marketing when you release books.
Yeah.
And so you have to, you know, adjust covers sometimes to whatever the market is going for. And so for this most recent cover with the sunglasses, it was very like visually stimulating to me. I loved the colors. I loved the boldness of it. I liked how it just kind of stood out. And this is the kind of story that could go romance, it could go chick lit, it could go rom-com. So it can go, you know, kind of straddles the lines in a lot of different ways. And so I wanted a cover that kind of fit in different areas. So
Nice.
yeah.
And so Miss Linda wants to know, have you ever thought about narrating an audiobook because you were excellent?
Oh my gosh, thank you. I have not thought about that actually, but it sounds like a super fun gig. I know people who do it. So yeah, it might be something to look into. Thank you so much for saying that.
I feel like I feel like my husband should get into that. I was telling him, like, on the move up here, he needs to get an agent and start narrating books because he loves to do like voices. Like my mom has always said, you need to be a radio announcer, because he'll be like, "Good morning," like
That's awesome. Yeah, if you've got that talent, you should go for it.
Anyways. All right, and Miss Karen wants to know, for everybody, have you ever had to rewrite a story after beginning and it just needed to go in a different direction?
Catherine, you want to take that one first?
Sure. So I have like old stuff that I just scrapped entirely. My first book, book 1 in the series before this one, when I first started writing, I had this idea for who the heroine was and this idea for this Victorian world with magic potions in it. And I was like, oh, it can be just pure fantasy. She doesn't need a romance, because I always had romances in everything I had written before. I was like, she doesn't need a romance. She'll be, just tough and independent and whatever. And I started writing, and her chemistry with the guy that was in the book was too good. And I was like, screw it. I'm just going to go full out, and it's going to be a complete romance. And I went with that. And it was at that point, I was like, I found my niche. This is what I like to write.
Yeah.
And I had to go back eventually and rewrite the entire beginning. Like once I had found that direction, I'm kind of a pantser. I don't like outline or anything. I sort of had this vague overall idea about the story, and then I just go from there. So once I knew where the story was going, the rest of it came fine. And then I just had to go back and rewrite the beginning of it.
Yeah. That's where I'm at.
This current one, I haven't had to do that with. Most of my other stories, I haven't had to do much,
Yeah.
much more minor rewrites than that one. But that one was a really big rewrite.
That's where I'm at. My agent came back to me today and said, rewrite the first 60 pages. Or not rewrite, but revise. Like, I guess the very first scene, it's an action scene. So she says it's too dark. So I got to go take it and sprinkle it in later on as flashbacks. But we're going from there. And so, Dylan, we can see you, though, now. Live, real time.
The cowboy.
Just so you know, I see your balloon moving.
I'm in it.
Real time.
What?
Your balloon, I see it moving slightly back.
I got pig butt in my face right here, so it's all good. Sorry, I'm like way flaky tonight. I was super excited to be on here because I've known Liberty since like I started writing. I mean, we connected on Twitter. You were like one of my very first writing friends.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I'm super excited to be on here tonight and have you guys.
I am too. This is so cool.
I know.
So
I have a question. I saw about the covers. Redoing the covers.
We did, yeah.
Shoot, now I lost. Okay, I needed to Linda to shut up. She wants to see the cowboy's abs. You just need to, girlfriend.
I can see them when you move your head ever so slightly.
Yep.
All right, now I can't see it.
Just move a little.
Sorry,
to
I
the-
don't mean to block the
There he is.
cardboard cowboy. It was a question about like, why did you decide to change your covers?
Yeah, we did that one.
See, I'm way
You got
flaky tonight. It's almost like I've had 4 margaritas or something. All right,
Have you?
I'll just be quiet now and carry on.
Oh.
The
Catherine, I
flaky
do have a
is
question.
helping over.
So, what made you decide to write in your genre?
I don't really know. I had written I'd written a lot of sort of more regular, just fantasy, straight up fantasy kind of stuff beforehand. Because I liked to sort of throw magic thing. I like to put fantastic things into my worlds. But I always had a romance or multiple romances in every story that I wrote. And so when I kind of just figured out that that's the part that I was really like enjoying writing the most, I sort of wanted to do that. And so that story just took off. And I had so much fun with it. I was like, that's where I'm going to stay. And I kept writing more stories in that world. And I have another steampunk world that's also kind of similar. It's got more like crazy mechanical stuff going on than this one has magic. But
Yeah.
same idea. It's like I like the history, but I also like to be able to play with it.
Yeah. It's crazy how when you're writing something, you just write something and then it changes the whole story and you're like, what just happened? And like I was telling my husband today, I'm like, my hero wasn't supposed to reveal his secret until the end, but he just did. And I'm kind of pissed at him. And he's like, you mean you made him reveal it? I'm like, no, he freaking revealed it on his own.
Yes.
Mhm.
And now I gotta work with it. And now I gotta
Definitely.
change the whole story.
Yeah,
Like-
well, when you're a character driven writer, like I'm a totally character driven writer. So like I see them and I just write down what they say and do. It is not me, it's just them and they're doing their thing and I'm just observing and I'm writing it down. And so yeah, sometimes I'll pull this stuff out of nowhere and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this now? You know?
You weren't supposed to do this for 4 more chapters.
Totally. But see,
Yep.
I'm a total pantser too, so I can go with it. Like very rarely do I plot anything out. And so I just kind of let them do their thing. But if they get too, of course, you got to kind of yank them back a little bit.
Mhm.
Be like, listen, we'll get to this later, but let's just do this first. Okay. So
Yep. So in the story that I am currently writing, my characters at the very beginning, they were like really just like they totally had the hots for each other. They were really into each other. And I'm like, how am I going to possibly keep these two from just jumping into bed?
Right.
And it was going like that. And then finally I got to the point in the story where like I was ready for them to start moving in that direction. And at that point they had like both like pulled back and were like, nope, this is not going to happen. And I'm like, you spent like the first 10 chapters like desperate for each other. And now you're like, nope, not going to do it. But
It's
that's
just not cooperating.
No.
yeah, that's how they were going. So
Yeah.
it worked out eventually.
It's funny how
So
that
I have a question for both of you. I wanted to ask Liberty, like, who's your celebrity crush? Was there somebody that inspired Niles for you? Because I'm sure you get that question a lot.
Gerard Butler.
I surprisingly don't get that question a lot. I'm
No,
shocked.
really?
I do not get that question a lot. And so at first I was like, I'm going to tell everybody who it was so that maybe he'll find me and we'll date and I'll dump my husband and blah, 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 or you know, both, you know? It's like my get out of jail free card. But no, that never, like people never really asked. I was really shocked. Like I asked people on Facebook and stuff, you know, when they enter contests, like who's yours and whatever. And so then I got all nervous about it and I'm like, I don't want anyone to know. So I'm actually not going to tell you. It is, isn't that
You
horrible?
tease?
I know,
my
right?
God, Priorities.
I know.
Can you give us the initials?
It's the
Yeah.
same initials as Niles's. So NR.
So, NR.
NR. Yep.
And
So if you
any guesses? And
I'm gonna have to Google that later. Look on rock stars with NR. Who has a guess?
Yeah, let's throw out some guesses. I want to know now. Linda's impatient. You're making her.
Dang,
impatient.
Linda, calm down. It'll be okay. I promise.
Rock stars with initials NR.
Oh,
You're
you
rock
got
star.
it.
Hold on, we're doing a little reconnaissance here.
I'm surprised you don't know, Dylan. Didn't I
Well,
ever
it's not
tell
Miss
you?
Tasha Richardson, is it?
Who?
Or Nancy Reagan?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna text my
All
husband.
right, we'll come back to
He
that.
knows music. So
Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny.
Rockstar has the official.
There's a Norman Rockwell.
Yes, totally. Norman Rockwell
Is
is
it-
hotter than hot. Yes.
Is it Nora Roberts?
Nora
No.
Roberts.
Nora Roberts is not a rock
It would be a
star.
good
and
choice.
I am not into Nora Roberts. I
Oh
love
my
her.
gosh, there's a lot of people with the initials NR.
Sorry.
All right, we'll have to come back to that.
Okay, wait. Is it Rockstar? Let's get genre specific then.
Okay, yes,
Rock
let's do that. I would not qualify him as a full-blown rock star anymore, no. And maybe
Anymore. So he's
maybe
old.
ever. They won okay, let me put it this way. They won a Grammy, 2 of them, in, what was it, 2012 or 2013. Part of a band.
So you're
Okay.
looking for a Minaj?
No, ma'am. That's on the Minaj. Oh my God, they would be super fun to hang out with, all 3 of them. But let's not in that way. Okay, Linda's like, you might as well-
three. Rock
Okay.
band NR. All right. Sorry, we're going a little
Okay.
off topic.
We are. I'll
are.
just spell it. Okay. All right, you guys, you're so bad. Now he just got married recently and has 2 kids. Now they're gonna be like, what is this crazy chick doing talking about my husband? But so
I
So
think
now
mine's asleep. Tell us
He's
right away.
basically-
Okay, Google is not helping me right now.
okay,
All right.
the band
A big music person.
The band
Sorry.
is fun, and the singer is Nate Roos. He sang the duet with Pink in "We Are Young" and "Carry On," and some nights you know who it is. So
Oh my gosh, you know what persons of torture? Because you just cracked like a walnut just then,
Yeah,
Liberty.
you
You just totally cracked.
I did. Well, like Linda's peer pressuring me. You might as well spill. You might as well spill. I was like, fine, yes, whatever.
Linda is really good at
All
that.
right. So that's who it is. But you know what? It's funny because you don't look at him and be like, oh my God, he's like a rock god or anything. But I'm telling you what, it's the soul of this person. It just like you can just feel everything in the lyrics. You can every interview. There's just something. Linda's like, I knew you would give in. Yeah, I did. Okay, you got me. It's all right. Well, maybe
Linda
he'll-
is a bad influence. Stay
Yeah,
away from
Linda.
Linda. She's a
Yeah,
very bad
Deanna-
influence.
Yes, totally.
She's
Deanna, yes,
crazy.
that's exactly who it is, Deanna. He did the duet with Pink, Just Give Me a Reason, gorgeous song. But like a gorgeous souled person, you can just tell, and I think that's what it is that resonated more than anything. And he is a total cutie, but it's so Niles began as a figment of that and then totally snowballed and became himself. So it wasn't like, Nate the whole time, but did definitely help.
Inspired by.
Totes. Yep. Inspired by.
Very cool.
Thank you for breaking me down. I appreciate it.
I gotta say, it didn't take much. I mean, I feel like, I feel like you really wanted to tell us. I do.
Well, I had a feeling you were going to ask, and I'm like, am I going to say anything or am I not going to say anything? And then I was like, because you don't want to embarrass people when they're like living their life, and it's like, you know what? So what? Who cares, right? So,
But that's okay. You know what? I mean, when I email him tomorrow and tell him that you inspired this book, I'm sure he'll be touched.
oh, I'm sure. Mike will too, I bet. Yeah.
Dylan is notorious for wanting
just
to go
kidding.
after those, connect with those famous people. I mean,
I'm
she's
just
talked about
joking. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Wonder Woman.
I
She's talked
tried.
about Wonder Woman. I mean,
Yeah. Hey, if you do it, I'm not going to stop you. Let's do it that way.
I forced my friendship on people. It's how we all met. I mean, come on, be honest.
I tried to push you away and you weren't having it. So
What are you working on next? What's that?
I said I tried to push you away and you weren't having it. So here we are.
You did. I know. I was just telling someone tonight because we had an author dinner. I'm like that toenail fungus that you just can't get rid of.
Well,
I
you're
just
a
grew
little
on you.
cuter than that, thank gosh. Yeah,
You just get used to me. I cannot be eradicated. So, yes.
that's funny.
All right. On a brighter note, Catherine, what are you working on next?
So next, after this book comes out, which is like in a few days at this point, I'm going to be releasing the first book in my other series, which is more of a hardcore steampunk. It's got mechanical dragons. It also has old time football because I'm a huge football fan. If I need to give a celebrity crush, I'd probably say Tom Brady. I went to Michigan when he was at Michigan, so I was in the marching band when he was the quarterback. So
I'm in Michigan. Oh my gosh.
that's awesome. Yay for Michigan.
Yeah, we're Tom Brady fans here.
So so that book it'll take place in my hometown of Ann Arbor, but back in 1904, and it has old time football and mechanical dragons and fun stuff like that.
Whoa.
Oh, way cool.
So you're
Yeah.
from Ann Arbor. Oh my gosh, I'm like
I'm
an
from Ann
hour and
Arbor.
a half north.
What's that?
I said you're from Ann Arbor. I'm about an hour and a half north of you.
Cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I gotta tell you, you can definitely tell you're on that Canadian border. I love your accent. I can hear it.
Dude,
I
mine
sometimes
are-
say sorry instead of
Yeah.
sorry.
Yo, you say boat. So I bet you say boat. my husband used to make fun of me. 'Cause I'm from Montana. I'm not as bad as you Midwesterners with that accent, but my husband used to tease me about my little Canadian accent. Huh, Linda? I bet you have an accent, Linda. We're gonna have to bring Linda on the show one of these days so we can see if she's got a Canadian accent.
Yeah, Michigan
She's
people,
from
we blend.
way up north.
Michigan people blend our words together.
Oh yeah.
So like feed her becomes theater.
Yeah.
And Grand Rapids is Grand Rapids, and it's all one word. And yeah.
Yeah. Florida is Florida.
Yeah, Florida. Yep, exactly.
And
You're just lazy, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
cold in Michigan. We have terrible weather, so we go to Florida.
Yeah, Florida. Mhm.
Speaking of state names, how do you say Nevada?
Just Nevada.
Is it Nevada or do you say
Yeah.
Nevada? Because I know people who say
I say Nevada.
You want to punch them in the face.
Nevada. I don't know.
Anyways, all right, we digress.
Just a little.
Linda says she can't go on with us. Oh, Linda.
We will.
And then Miss Karen is representing St. Louis.
Cool.
I'm heading to St. Louis this summer for part of our vacation. So hi.
I've been
So,
to
Liberty, what are you working on? Are you still writing?
Yeah, I am. So, you know me, I go in little spurts and all that stuff. And so I've been, my muse has been on point lately because I was telling the girls when we first started, I'm studying astrology, as you know. And so Jupiter, who is the planet of expansion, he's in my 5th house right now, which rules creativity and projects and all the fun stuff, the stuff that you love for pleasure. So this is a really good time to dial into my muse and get cracking, right? So I've got 3 things going right now. I've got Fangirl book 4 is going because book 3 came out on February 26th. And so book 4, and it could be my last one, Dylan, with that series. We'll see. I don't know. I probably not because I can't not write for them. We'll see. And then I'm working on some middle grade stuff, which I think I've been wanting to do for a super long time. So, and the 5th house also rules children. And so it's a good time to kind of tap into the children energy too. And then I want to give you a little sneak peek of my cover maybe. I bought a pre-made cover for this rom-com. It's a second chance romance rom-com, childhood friends that are meeting back up in, I got to get rid of these. Hold on. These notifications, because I made my cover my lock screen. So let's see if we can, oh shoot. Okay, I'll try it one more time. If it doesn't work, then we'll get a reflection. Oh, you can't see it.
there you go.
No, I can't see it. Oh, kind of. A little bit.
Gotcha, back.
Okay,
Gotcha
so
back.
I like it.
Getcha Back.
I saw
it's called.
Pink, so I'm a big fan. I saw Pink.
Yeah. So we're gonna try something, and we were talking about covering the covers earlier about the marketing and how you have to, like, you know, switch up your covers or whatever for marketing purposes. So this one in particular is really straddles the line between romance and chick lit. It's got the chick lit, the rom-com colors, bright pink, yellow, palm trees, you know, like really fun font, and then it's got the man chest of romance. And so we're going to see. Yes, Linda said, I saw a hot guy. You betcha you did. Yes, he is good looking. I'm telling you what. So he's come a long way since childhood. Let's just say that. And so when those two meet back up, sparks are going to fly big time. So I'm working on that one as well.
Is that a second chance? Like
Yes.
Dylan?
Yep.
Dylan's got a second chance out tomorrow.
Yay.
Right? Tomorrow?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like 3 hours and 6 minutes. It will hit your Kindle.
Yay. Yay. Oh, I got it.
So good.
Yep. So I know I'm a little nervous. It's nice not being home because I'm going to be busy here. So it'll be a distraction.
Well, happy early release day.
Thank you. I know
Yay.
it's very different releasing indie versus traditional. So very, very, very different.
Yep.
Miss Karen wants to know if you guys have audiobooks of your stories.
I do not. We actually started the audiobook process for All Access when I was with my smaller publisher, and then they went out of business, and I never pursued that on my own. Maybe it sounds like I should make my own, according to who said that earlier? Karen? Linda? What? I think it was Karen. So yeah, maybe I'll record my own someday, but no, nothing yet.
I don't have any audiobooks either, but I was planning on, when I go to RWA Nationals this summer, I was planning on going to all the audiobook workshops
Yeah.
because that's something I want to learn about, because I would love, love, love to have my books out in audio. So
Yeah.
hopefully for the future.
I'm curious, out of the people that are watching, who listens to audiobooks? Because, I mean, we keep getting told by, I don't know, people that are monitoring the industry and everything that audio is just, you know, growing and growing and growing. So I'm curious. Because it seems like audio is kind of where it's at right now.
I have a few.
Linda wanted to know if any of you attend book cons.
I do not yet, but I am super ready to get rolling with that.
Yep. Right now, I've just been going to RWA.
Yeah.
I would love to do some more, sort of a broader range of cons. That's sort of, again, one of those things I'm looking for in the future.
Yeah. So I will be in New York City this summer with Miss Catherine there. Catherine, are you doing any book signings at National?
Yes. I'm doing the indie book signing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing the indie book signing too. I'll say you're there. Maybe
Cool.
So yeah, we're I guess Miss Catherine and I will both be there this summer in New York City. I'll be doing the indie book signing. That's just for authors, I believe. But and then I'm doing the Literacy for Life, so I'll be there for your readers if you want to come and chat. And I'm trying to think of some awesome swag to do that.
And those are open to the public. If there's anybody that will be in New York City this summer, those are all free and open to the public. So anybody can walk in to those book signings. And I actually will be in a book signing on Saturday here in Milwaukee from 3 to 4:30 if anybody is in the Milwaukee area, and that's free.
So Karen, Dylan, is your book at KU?
Yes.
Yes.
If I set it up right, it should be in KU tomorrow. Yeah.
Yay.
I had some books in KU, but I took them out to do book club. The KU wouldn't work with book club for some reason. It was just being difficult. But
I got an international book club, and I'm in KU.
wow, nice.
Yeah.
I got it in KU, but they wouldn't. It was something to do with my timing.
Mm-hmm.
Like from I don't know some weird thing. It was like 2 days difference between when I could and when I couldn't, so they weren't going to let me. So I just emailed them and took it out and
Aw.
so I could get my book club. Otherwise, they weren't going to work with me. It was some weird problem, but yeah.
Well, and for readers who are listening, BookBub, if you're not familiar with BookBub.com, and you can sign up, pick your genres, and then they will email you. It's like daily deals. A lot of them are freebies. They're big time on sale.
Yeah.
And then you can also get a membership to BookBub. It's all free, but you can sign up for BookBub, and then you can follow the authors that you like and leave reviews and things like that. So.
We're all on
BookBub
there.
is a pretty big deal if you're an author. If you get a BookBub,
I
you know,
just
they've
got
an
my
email list
first
of
one, and I'm so excited.
thousands.
Yay. Enjoy it.
Congratulations. Yeah, I've heard some people that, you know, because you have to apply, and then if they pick you, then you send it out, and it's pretty expensive for an author, but I mean, it can result in, you know, 30,000 downloads or so in a day, which can kind of catapult an author's career. So it's a pretty big deal.
Writing historical, I've had a bunch of BookBubs, but I've always made my money back at the very least, even when with my publishers, like when my publishers did the BookBub, my royalties from that even made my money back. So even though it's expensive, it kind of
Well, it's especially good if you have a series, because then the read through kicks in. And that's where the gold is. Yep.
But I love BookBub. It's my new favorite thing.
I love BookBub as a reader because, you know, there's oftentimes, it's not just new books either. It's sometimes some of the, you know, some of your old favorites. I mean, I've grabbed a couple, you know, like Nora Roberts books.
And then you can always sign up. You can always sign up to get like alerts when your authors have new releases and stuff. It'll alert you when they come out.
I buy a lot
if you
of
follow different authors. Like I just got comprehensive alert.
Yeah, you're crashing out.
Looking up a little.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I like to snag the cheap ebooks of the books that I have in paperback.
yeah.
So I get a lot of those from BookBub deals.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are past our time. I told you it would go really fast. So I just got a couple things. So next May 9th, we're going to be hosting Pepper North and Laura Chapman to come here with us. And stay tuned for the next couple weeks. I have 3 books coming out this summer, and I'm going to be doing some really fun cover reveals with some of my friends, including Dylan. I don't know if she's hearing me. But they're going to be really fun, and we'll be doing them live, just popping up live randomly and doing my cover reveals with you. So keep your eye on Romance Happy Hour for that. And Dylan, she's like the master of posting our friends' deals and new releases and everything. She's really good at that. So we love to promote all of our friends that come and chat with us here. So keep your eyes there for Miss Liberty and Miss Catherine's releases. And ladies, when you have releases, please just send us a quick note and we'll promo for you.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to say goodnight, and we will see you on May 9th.
It was tons of fun.